Hey everyone, it's Will and Ben from Bar Media,
Hey guys.
and this is our Q&A where we answer basically our audience's questions, and we've got these questions in our plant bowl of truth.
Plant bowl of truth.
So we're going to dive straight into it and pick out a question. For those, obviously this is only our sort of actually third video. I think we've only got, at the moment, we've only got one out. There's another one going to be coming out today. And for those that haven't seen the earlier videos, we obviously put all these questions. We don't know necessarily. We've got an idea what the questions are, but we don't know
which one we're going to pick.
What we're going to pick. So it's a little bit off the cuff,
on the spot thinking.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it makes it a little bit more interesting, doesn't it?
Definitely. So, Will.
Oh, it's my turn. We'll take it in turns as well. So here we go. And also, you can't read my handwriting, so I'd better. It's the ongoing jokes in every video so far. You make fun of my handwriting. Right. Should I outsource my social media marketing? Is the question.
Okay.
In terms of outsourcing it, going to an agency to help you.
Yeah.
Going to a freelancer to help you, anything.
Yeah.
So it's not done in house.
It's, you know what? It's a really interesting one, isn't it? Because I think so I can see it from both perspectives completely. From a business perspective, where I know a lot of small businesses or lots of small business owners, they want to know how you do stuff. They want to be the person that does it.
It's something we encounter regularly, isn't it? People wanting to do it themselves. They don't quite want to give up that full control just for the agency to do their job.
Yeah.
They start letting go, which I think small business owners, even medium business owners, have trouble doing. They want to do it all themselves and know how it goes. And
definitely, and I think this is one of the challenges with working with smaller businesses and smaller brands. Without that, and from when I step out and think for myself before I got involved with Bar Media, I was definitely that type of small business owner who wants to I'm going to do this. I'm going to learn it myself, and I want to dive deep into it to understand it as fully as possible. And I think there's a lot of, if I'm honest, I think there's a lot of value in that to a certain extent, because I think if you're in business or if you're a brand, I think it's really important you understand the mechanics of how you open up an account, how you manage an account, how you tweak an account.
I mean, you have to understand that if a relationship falls down, like if you work with an agency and that a relationship falls down, you're going to be stuck, at least for a time, in limbo. Like, what do I do now? If you don't understand what's happening, it's going to be really hard to pick up the pieces of some kind of fallout or transition to a new agency. So I do think it's really important to understand.
Definitely, and you're in an exposed position. Actually, I think that's an interesting one because. Yeah, I think whenever you're relying on one person or one entity or whatever it is to do the thing, and it might be social media marketing, it might be tech, it might be whatever, a key salesperson.
Yeah.
If you're only relying on that one individual, I think any small business will know deep down that if that person was to leave, you're exposed. So I think a business owner who can start from the ground up and understand all those processes, I think it's really important. And I think it's really important that businesses understand, they get into it so they can see how hard it is and how much work's required to actually make it successful.
I think that would help also seeing the value in paying for an outsourcing agency to do it for you. If you understand the work that goes into it and you understand the value of what you're paying someone to do, I think outsourcing and trusting someone else to do it is a lot easier if you understand it all, you understand the value, and you understand that you can't necessarily do it yourself. I think it's just important that a lot of small business owners go through that stage where they don't want to outsource. They're arguing in their head until they understand it and think it's then necessary, having seen the value and the amount of work that goes into it.
I think the challenge actually is a lot of small businesses will do it themselves because they think, when it comes to social media marketing, they think, well, I can post, I can open up a Facebook page, I can do it myself. Why would I need to outsource it to an agency? And I think a lot of businesses will do it themselves, do probably a lot of work because it's fun and it's taking you off your normal day job, which you in the grind. It's like, oh, this is the same shit, different day. But this is fun. But then I think what happens is those businesses, those brands, they don't find they're getting traction, and they don't find that what they're doing is working, and then they get turned off by it. Go, the social media stuff is it's a load of rubbish. It's pointless. What's the point? I'm going to go back to doing what I was doing, But the problem is they don't really know how to do it properly because they're not marketers.
No. I think that's where the real benefit of getting an agency in. Often you can get help from an agency or a team of people, and you get their full power of expertise from all ranges: graphic design, social media, online sales. You can get the full range of skills for often cheaper than it is to employ someone. So that's where I think the benefit is massive.
Full range of skills and experience, I think that's key.
A huge amount of experience.
Working with different businesses, different types of brands, seeing the different challenges that they all face.
And I feel for often cheaper than you can hire your own marketing team. I think the outgoings are a lot greater.
So when you think about a business from a business perspective, do you think, the question is quite a broad question, isn't it? Should you outsource your social media marketing to an agency? I think it also depends on what the aims and the ambitions and the what that business is trying to achieve. Why are they doing what they're doing? I think that's probably the most fundamental point, isn't it?
I was going to say,
and what their ambitions are. How far do they want to grow?
I think the thing you should do if you're questioning whether you should go and talk to an agency or you should outsource it or keep it in house, I think the biggest thing you should do is either have goals, and then 2, often you can talk to these agencies. You can get a little bit of free consultation,
100%,
and just go and see what a range of agencies are offering. See how they can help you before you completely say no to outsourcing it.
100%. I think the other thing is, if you're a business or you're a brand, and you're sort of thinking that you need to market and you need to get yourself out there. I think the biggest thing I can also say is think about a marketing budget. Because I think so many businesses just do not even think about this. What are your metrics? How many extra sales are you expecting? From doing this. What's your measurement? What's the goal? What does a winning formula look like? For you. And I think understanding what where you're trying to get to is absolutely critical for any agency to come in and try and help you, because unless they understand your goals and what you're trying to achieve and how many extra sales and indeed what your marketing budget, because they might be able to say actually what you're aiming for is totally unrealistic, or actually it is realistic, but unless you know what your goals are and what you're trying to achieve, I think that no one can help you.
I think that works both ways. So if you have a set of goals and you know your budget, then you can best decide whether you can keep it in-house or you want to outsource, depending on your goals and your budget and your ambitions. So having a clear... We're an agency and we obviously want to promote outsourcing it because that's our business. However, I'm not against being in-house, and I think you should make your decisions based upon that full set of plans, and you should have that full set of plans. I think the worst is when you jump into something, spending money left, right and centre on Facebook ads, on whatever, you're not really knowing what you're doing, you've had no advice, no experience before, and then you get switched off by social media because it's not delivering the results you were hoping for.
Yeah.
Because you don't really know what you're doing. And that's where I think before you touch anything, come up with a plan, have a budget for marketing, have your ambitions and your goals, and then you can then decide, can I afford to keep it in-house? Do I want to keep it in-house? Do my goals require for me to keep it in-house? Or do it require for me to then outsource and actually talk to someone else about these goals in an agency or a freelancer to help achieve them? I think that having a very clear mindset and set of ambition, set of goals and a budget will drastically help you make that decision, and also know where you're going to be going with social media.
Absolutely. And actually I think often businesses who do start doing it in-house will still outsource, which is really interesting.
Yeah, we've met that have like marketing executives that essentially just oversee the whole process. So like their managing director will come to them and go, yeah, we need this done, and they don't actually have a team to do it. They just find the right people to outsource to, and so there's some weird structures. There
are some weird structures, but I think it's interesting. And even when they have got a structured marketing team internally, one thing always to bear in mind is if you are thinking about building up your own internal marketing team, their skill sets will be whatever their skill sets are. So there might be gaps in their skill sets which actually they either have no experience in, or they'll actually think about their own sort of preservation, because actually if they say, yeah, this is a really good idea, but I've got no idea how to do it, potentially they could be jeopardizing themselves 100%. From a position. So I think there is, the psychology of employees sometimes actually holding you back, or in your own business, because they're looking after their own self-interest. For example, if somebody is a experienced in print or old school old school marketing solutions, but they're not necessarily hot on the new world of digital marketing, and they're in part of your internal team, are they going to be shouting about all the the new ways of doing things?
No.
Potentially not.
Not.
I'm not saying they won't, but they could see it as being threatened. So I think be very mindful of if you have got a marketing team already, or you think about building one, just be mindful of the skill gaps, being open to sort of maybe still outsource those sort of gaps. Listening to your marketing team, but actually just having a little bit of, take it with a pinch of salt, because remember, fundamentally, they're going to be, aligned to looking after their own self-interest, which we all are. We're all people, we're all humans. So that's what we always do.
All right, let's tackle this question from a different angle, like head on. When would you see it necessary to outsource to an agency, and what situation would you deem it necessary to keep it in-house? Now, this could be taken whichever way.
You know what? To be honest, you're asking the wrong person. Genuinely, because if I'm actually asking from my personal perspective, well, you know the story, and I mean, I'll share the story. But the bottom line is, Bar Financial Services, Bar Financial. That was my, I'm a mortgage broker. We've got a financial services firm, and I was, doing the marketing, and SEO marketing, internet 1.0 with the, optimization of keywords and SEO and email marketing and stuff like that. And so I was always doing the marketing side, and then a couple of years ago I sort of opened my eyes up to the power of social, and I'm working on that. And I was always building up effectively an internal marketing team, because I knew the power of how vital it is to market yourself. And I've said it before, where every business actually needs to think of themselves as a marketing company. Whatever you do is almost a byproduct of you being able to go out and get customers, and you just happen to be selling to those people the tools, the solutions, the expertise, whether you're a lawyer, whether you're an estate agent, whether you're a mortgage broker, whether you're a digital marketing company, who you've got to sell your services. So I've always believed that any business is fundamentally a marketing company.
Yeah. And
so I've had that ethos internally, and I started building up the internal marketing team, and that's when we started meeting. And I think, so that was happening, and because I wanted to really understand it, I really wanted to get to the bones of, okay, right, the challenges in business. We've got great solutions, but we need to get more people. We need to get more clients. We need, how do we, we've got great systems, we've got great processes. Right, we need more business. And that's that dichotomy with any business is facing, isn't it? They're looking to, we need to get more business, we need to get more clients. How can we be better than the competition? How can we, get our message out? It's all those challenges. And I think, so I was always about building that internal marketing team. And I think when I got to that point when it was like, okay, actually things are going really well, but there's an opportunity to create a separate entity, which, from a selfish perspective, I can leverage, helps you out.
Leverages us all,
helps you out,
helps
because we create something,
helps your business out,
and helps other businesses,
with the same
same challenges
processes we come up with.
Absolutely. And I think I've very much been all about and I think it probably comes from my family, really. I've always wanted to help people. So the fact that I'm in finance, it's a bit dull, a bit boring, can sometimes seem a little bit, maybe, I don't know, a scary industry, full of sort of middle wage, suits. But even though I'm in that sector, I've always been very much thinking about, I want to help my clients. And I think that's the same sort of philosophy I have with with the marketing. Bar Media is about, I want to make sure we get solutions for them. So I think asking what I would do is probably maybe a little bit different to what most people would do, if I'm honest. So I think, but I think the reality is, in a way, I've sort of outsourced it.
Well, you have.
If you think about it,
outsourcing it.
If you think about it, so
it's our business. However, it is still outsourcing it. Bar Media is a completely separate entity to Bar Financial.
And so I think I haven't really sort of I guess sort of talked about this in a huge detail, but in a weird way, I brought it internal, but I've sort of outsourced it, but I'm sort of getting a benefit.
So it's a weird setup. Like Bar Financial's offices are above Bar Media's offices, so it's but it is actually, if you look at it in a literal sense, it is outsourcing it because it's outsourcing to a separate company.
Completely.
I think you've got to look at it of the benefits and downsides of each side. So the benefits of keeping it in-house is you get to pick the team, you know the people, they work alongside you every day, so they get to know your business from the inside and you grow with them as a team. The downsides is, I think it can be more expensive to build up the same set of expertise that you can get from an agency.
Without a doubt.
So you're going to be powering a lot more money into it, hiring a whole team, each with these different expertise that have the experience as well. So I think although you get to know people on a very personal level and you can work with them every day and they're very much part of your company, I think for a lot of small and medium businesses, that is kind of out of the question down to budget. Like affording that amount of expertise is going to be very hard for a small business.
Definitely.
So that's where the benefits of a agency comes in. I feel as an agency, you can get that full range of expertise and that full range of knowledge and experience for effectively cheaper.
Yeah.
I mean, it still does cost, but I think over time it's a lot cheaper to get that range of expertise. And also, it's not impersonal. You have your point of contact. You have multiple points of contact. The people we work with, they know us on a level. We talk to them regularly. So it is like having them part of your team. It's just they work in a different office.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, I think on that point, and I think it mustn't be underestimated when you mentioned about expertise. We've come across people thinking, oh, well, hang on, I could get a 16-year-old who knows how to do a post on Instagram. Therefore, because they're young, they must know about social media, and, I'll just get my nephew or niece to do it because they're young, so they must know social media. Biggest mistake you could ever make, biggest waste of money you can ever make, because genuinely, just because somebody's young, this is, it's so dumb.
But it's the same thing.
It's so dumb. It's like, just because you're young does not mean you know how to be a marketeer.
It's the same thing though. It's the same benefit of things like websites. Anyone can build a website on Wix or Squarespace. Doesn't mean it's going to be any good. Anyone can do it, and anyone can pay £7 a month for it. But it doesn't mean it's going to be at the top of its game for SEO. It doesn't mean it's going to be at the top of the game in terms of your own personally designed website. It's always going to be using templates if you use these services.
It's not going to hit your goals.
It's not going to hit the best it possibly can. So yes, it's going to cost you more to get it custom made by an agency. However, the amount of experience of people putting their work in, putting their experience into building this website for you, it will be at the top. It'll be so much better than you could produce on your own.
Definitely.
And much cheaper than hiring your own freelancer for a year.
Yeah.
You could be, if you outsource on the basis of websites, you could pay an agency 15-20 grand for a website, or you could hire a team of developers same size as the one in the agency, but you'll be paying them each 30-40 grand a year to build that website and maintain it and keep it ongoing. So I guess it comes down to how much money you have and how much budget you're willing to push into it.
And like we said earlier, it comes down, that's the key, isn't it? It's understanding what your goals are, what your budget is, and how serious you are about doing it. I think that's the key. So that's it.
I think that's pretty much it.
I think that's it. If there's anything we've missed, maybe put in the comment section. Let us know.
End up in the plant bowl of truth, pot of truth.
Ask us more questions. That's what we're here for.
Indeed.
But otherwise, don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and do all those amazing things. And we'll catch up soon.
Cheers, guys.